How does a barefoot kid from tiny Abbott, Texas, grow into the last living outlaw of country music, only to shock fans at 92 with secrets about a friend no one expected him to mention? That question hangs in the air like campfire smoke, and it's right where our story begins. Willie Nelson entered the world on April 29, 1933, during the darkest days of the Great Depression. His parents split and drifted away, leaving little Willie and his sister Bobby in the care of music-loving grandparents. They paid the bills by picking cotton, but they fed the children's souls with hymns and fiddle tunes. At 6, Willie clutched his first guitar. By 7, he'd hammered out a song of his own. At 9, the siblings were hauling their two-person band to every dusty dance hall within driving distance, earning coins and wild applause that told Willie a life in music wasn't just possible, it was his destiny. But that was only the beginning. The 1950s proved brutal. Nashville gatekeepers said his nasal twang was too raw, so Willie hustled day jobs, vacuum salesman, disc jockey, Bible peddler, while slipping new songs to anyone who'd listen. Crazy landed with Patsy Cline and detonated on the charts, followed by Nightlife and Funny How Time Slips Away. Each lyric felt like a handwritten confession, and publishers started whispering that this oddball Texan might be a hidden gold mine. Yet, as royalties trickled in, Willie still slept on friends' couches, wondering if the spotlight would ever swing his way. But that wasn't the whole story. Frustration finally boiled over in the early 70s. Willie ditched the starched suits of Music Row, headed home to Austin, and dared the industry to follow. The result? Outlaw country. Loud guitars, loose rhythms, and lyrics that felt carved out of real dirt. Albums like Shotgun Willie, 1973, Red-Headed Stranger, 1975, and Stardust, 1978, slapped the mainstream awake and sold millions on honesty over polish. Fans saw the braids, the battered guitar named Trigger, and the bandana soaked with sweat, and they sensed a rebel who'd never fake a note. That renegade energy turned Willie into a folk hero. But rebellion comes with a price. Money rolled in fast and rolled right back out. By 1990, the IRS slammed Nelson with a jaw-dropping $32 million bill, claiming shady tax shelters had hidden his earnings. Agents seized ranches, instruments, and master tapes. Lesser spirits would have folded, but Willie got creative. He recorded the IRS tapes, Who'll Buy My Memories, and cut a deal that let fans bail him out by buying the music they loved. Within 3 years, the debt was wiped clean, and the saga only amplified his Robin Hood legend. Still, the scars of that financial ambush never fully healed, and rumors swirled that more legal battles lurked in the shadows. And what happened next would shock everyone. Nelson's private life was even stormier. 4 marriages, 7 children, and enough heartbreak to fuel 100 songs. His first union ended in violence and heartbreak. Their son later took his own life, a wound Willie rarely discusses. A second marriage crashed after an exposed affair. A third dissolved under the weight of endless touring. Finally, in 1988, makeup artist Annie D'Angelo stepped in and, as Willie jokes, played the long game. More than 35 years later, she still stands by him, recently blasting a social media rumor that her son Lucas is caring for frail parents. Annie clapped back, calling the report lazy fiction, and insisted both she and Willie remain strong and self-sufficient. Yet whispers about the singer's health refused to die. So let's pull back the curtain. Respiratory scares, emphysema, even COVID. Tabloids love predicting Willie's final curtain. Last summer, he canceled several outlaw music festival dates on doctor's orders, igniting panic that he might never tour again. Weeks later, he bounced back, strumming on stage beside Bob Dylan and laughing at the speculation. More headlines exploded in November 2024 when a health update warned fans he'd been ordered to rest 4 days. Country blogs pumped the story into a full-blown crisis. Willie later waved off the drama, blaming seasonal allergies. In July 2025, The List revealed he had quietly undergone experimental stem cell therapy to strengthen his lungs, a move friends say lets him sing without wheezing for the first time in years. Still, conspiracy channels pushed the idea that secret hospital visits hint at something darker. Truth or tall tale? Only the red-headed stranger knows. But another surprise was brewing. Even with oxygen tanks sometimes waiting stageside, Willie hit album number 77 this April. Oh, What a Beautiful World reimagines Rodney Crowell classics and debuted to glowing reviews on his 92nd birthday. Critics hailed the record's unfiltered warmth, while diehards pointed out it arrives barely a year after Last Leaf on the Tree. Label insiders whisper that an unprecedented 78th album may already be half-cut, featuring secret duets with Casey Musgraves and, rumor has it, a holographic cameo from the late Merle Haggard. Willie just smiles and says, "I ain't through yet." But fans wondered, would the new music be his swan song? That fear spiked when Hello Magazine claimed Nelson was weighing retirement to protect what's left of his voice. Days later, he told a Spectrum reporter, "Retire from what? Breathing?" and announced fresh summer dates with Dylan for the Outlaw Tour's 10th anniversary. Observers note the set lists are looser than ever. He calls songs on the fly, daring the band to keep up, a trick he says keeps his brain sharp. Yet the cancellation rumors persist, fueled by every missed show and weather-related cough. The tension between tireless legend and mortal human powers each headline. And hidden beneath those headlines lies the cannabis empire. In 2015, Willie rolled out Willie's Reserve, a brand that let fans buy the same green he's puffed since the 60s. By 2025, the business spans 15 states, and a new THC tonic called Willie's Remedy threatened to sell out its launch inventory in an hour. Texas lawmakers have battled decriminalization in his home state. When Attorney General Kenan Paxson sued Dallas for easing pot penalties, Willie tweeted a single word, "Seriously?" and sales spiked overnight. Investors whispered that the tonic line alone could be worth 8 figures. But critics grumble that glorifying weed conflicts with Willie's family man image. He shrugs, reminding interviewers that alcohol killed more friends than herb ever did. Still, the debate rages on. And then comes a twist from the courtroom. Last July, music rights giant BMI dragged a Michigan brewery into court for playing Willie tracks without paying royalties. Comment sections exploded. Was Willie behind the lawsuit? His reps denied involvement, but headlines painted him as a crusader protecting songwriters' paychecks, even though he's championed free bootlegs for decades. The flare-up reminded fans of his colossal tax war in the 90s, so speculation lit up again. Is Willie bracing for another financial ambush? No evidence suggests trouble, yet mysteries cling to him like guitar strap sweat. And speaking of mysteries, one name keeps resurfacing: John Denver.
On paper, the two icons couldn't be more different. Denver's bright tenor praised sunny valleys. Nelson's worn baritone roamed neon roadhouses. Fans long wondered if their paths ever crossed in a meaningful way. Then, in a quiet backstage moment, Nelson finally revealed, "This year, Denver confessed the record executives begged him to chase pop trends, but he'd rather sing what the mountains tell me. That line burrowed into Willie's mind, and he said it crystallized his own vow never to bend for chart positions. When Denver's experimental plane went down off California in '97, Nelson issued no statement, fearing publicity would cheapen private grief. Instead, he played "Sunshine on My Shoulders" alone in his bus and let the tears fall. He speaks of it now with cracked tenderness, saying those songs were gifts, not hits. The revelation set social media on fire. How had he hidden this friendship for nearly 3 decades? And what fans learned next felt even more unbelievable. Industry insiders claim an unreleased acetate exists of Willie covering "Take Me Home Country Roads" as a tribute days after the crash. One story says he pressed just 3 copies, gifting one to Denver's family and burying another under an oak at his Texas ranch. The third? Rumor places it locked inside a Maui safe, waiting as a secret track for his final album. No one close to the Nelson camp confirms or denies, fueling speculation that the lost Denver duet could surface posthumously if Willie ever steps away from touring. As always, the mystery keeps his legend alive. But challenges kept piling up. Health scares returned last year when sudden emphysema flares forced Willie off the Outlaw Tour's opening night. Ticket holders erupted online, demanding refunds, while gossip sites pushed wild claims that he was bedridden. 2 weeks later, he reappeared, guitar in hand, voice rough but defiant, and cracked, "The doc told me to quit singing, so I fired the doc." Critics called the comeback irresponsible, fans called it heroic. The debate mirrors his entire career: rule-breaking icon or stubborn road warrior. Either way, the story rolled on. Activism never left his blood. Farm Aid, launched in 1985 to save family farmers, hit its 39th year in 2024, with Willie still anchoring the lineup, backed by Neil Young, Dave Matthews, and Margot Price. During soundcheck, he floated a radical idea. What if Farm Aid partnered with cannabis companies to replace chemical pesticides? The crowd cheered, but lobbyists bristled. Whether the proposal flies or fizzles remains to be seen, yet it shows a man who refuses to coast on nostalgia. He still pushes, still provokes, still looks for the next hill to climb. But one more rumor begged for attention. Bloggers began hinting that Willie might finally allow a biopic, with Matthew McConaughey campaigning hard to play his hero. Willie swatted away the talk, saying, "I'm not finished writing the ending." Just last month, the Norwegian newspaper pressed him about selling life rights, and he laughed and claimed Hollywood would turn it into a shit show. Insiders think the real reason is simpler. Once someone else tells your life story, the world assumes you're done making new chapters. And as Willie often reminds us, he's still adding pages, sometimes by the day.